Step off the plane as refugees, but they walk out of this terminal as permanent residents of Canada.
And in there? That was an early morning flight bringing the first large group of Syrian refugees to Toronto. So, who are these new residents of Canada? Well, my next guest, you may remember from the program yesterday, Safwan Chowdhury. He is the national spokesperson for Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, a Muslim community group, which is helping to integrate the new residents into Canadian society. And Safwan was there last night at Pearson International in Toronto. In fact, you'll see some of his pictures throughout the interview. Safwan, what was it like to be there?
You know, it is something that I will probably cherish for the rest of my life. There was so much excitement and emotion, and not just from the Syrians who were arriving, but the Canadians who were there with their signs and posters, and the tears that were running down their eyes. And it was just great for them to come in. A moment that really struck to me is at one point the reporters asked one of the children, what are you looking forward to the most? And what do you know about Canada? And she said, I looked out the window. I don't think there's any snow outside yet. You know, so I think it's their great fortune that we have this great weather.
Yeah,
and everything that they're expecting is slightly a little bit different. And we don't have any snow yet for them, but I'm sure they'll get to see it in a few weeks.
We'll warm them. We'll, you know, roll them into it gently.
You got it.
Tell us about the new residents. Who are they?
You know, this has been truly an inspiring experience, even for myself, just getting to know about them. You know, we saw all these images of these mass migrations happening in Europe, and we saw the refugee camps and people's living conditions in there. But despite their conditions, these people, it is so heartwarming to see how professional they are. I mean, I met engineers, I met high school teachers. One of the individuals that came up just to speak with us and thank us and thank the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat for helping them said, look, I really appreciate the help, but I'm looking forward to getting onto my own 2 feet. I have the skills, I have the talent. I can't wait till I start working and really become a contributing member. These individuals understand economics of their arrival, and they're surprisingly a lot more knowledgeable about Canada than what I had initially even imagined.
Yeah, we're hearing a lot of people speak about wanting to live the Canadian way. In fact, that was addressed a couple of times. Once through, we heard a clip in the news, and I think we had that clip available to play now, where a gentleman talks about how he wants to live his life here. Let's listen to that. Maybe we don't have the clip, but we certainly do have Justin Trudeau speaking about what he described for the people there, describing what are Canadian values. Let's listen to that. Okay. We're obviously having a technical difficulty on these issues, but Justin Trudeau says we are not defined by our skin color. Canadians are not defined by our language or our religion. And then we heard somebody say they want to live the Canadian way. What is, from the people you've been able to talk to, Safwan, what is the Canadian way in their eyes?
You know, I had the privilege of actually asking them this, that tell me about what are some of the things that are going through your mind right now. And one of the things he said, Alhamdulillah, Canada is like Jannah, which means thanks to God that Canada to us feels like paradise. And that really had a profound effect on me, and not just myself, but our entire community, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, who has raised so much money, and the people and the children who have come out to sponsor these families. It's so heartwarming to meet them. And you know, one of the things that was particularly inspiring, as today's Friday, it is the holiest day of the week in the Muslim week, where we do our Friday prayers. And some of these families today will get to experience praying in a mosque for the first time. They had to leave a Muslim country and pray in Canada in a mosque for the first time because of the persecution that they were facing because of the Syrian government.
Yeah.
And then later in the refugee camps where they don't have mosques. So how powerful is that those Muslims have come here, and today at our national headquarters, the Baitul Islam Mosque in Vaughan, Ontario, which is one of the largest mosques in GTA, had so many Syrian refugees who will get to pray inside a mosque in Canada for the first time.
I think in about 10 minutes they'll have their first Friday prayers.
You're exactly right. It's in about roughly 10 minutes there. Preparations are underway. There's going to be thousands of people there. Our community is really excited to be part of that prayer.
Yeah, and just to explain to our audience, the Alawite, the Bashar al-Assad's particular religion, they did not allow any other kind of, as I understand it, any other kind of worship in the country.
Well, not only did they not allow it, these religious communities were very heavily persecuted for that. And that religious persecution is not much different from the one that the Ahmadiyya community faces in Pakistan, which is state-sponsored again. So till this day, we see state-sponsored religious persecution. So for our community to welcome another community that has faced that, it just feels like the right thing to do. That, you know, today Canada has given our community so much, and now we're reciprocating that on the arrival of these new refugees who continue to come. And you know, one of the things to also keep in mind is right now there's a lot of excitement, you know, with the involvement of media and the Prime Minister being there. But in the coming days, weeks, months, and years, when the cameras all leave and the lights are all off, that's when the real work of integration needs to begin.
Yeah.
Enrolling these children into schools and helping them become successful, accomplished Canadians like the rest of us.
Let me ask you this. Was it a little weird for some of them to have all these cameras trained on them and then the Prime Minister helping them into their coat?
Well, you know, I have to give a lot of credit to the Prime Minister. You know, I noticed that he took his jacket off and took his tie out and had rolled up his sleeves. And he really looked like a civilian last night. And I think that's something they're not used to seeing from their government authorities, that the highest office in the country has come down to their level as they're coming here as refugees to help them with their coats. But, you know, apart from that, this is really going to now require coordination from all levels of government and local charitable organizations and humanitarian organizations to now help us take the next few steps for these individuals. And even, you know, you talked about the cameras last night. For the most part, I saw mostly smiles. You know, I even asked one of the families that, do you feel comfortable being interviewed by media? And just the word interview is all he understood. And that holds a very negative connotation for them, simply because the only interviews they've done are at the entrance of different camps and at borders with immigration officers, with UNHCR. So every time they hear the term interview, they get a little bit nervous. But it was to reassure them that, don't worry, you're in Canada now, you're safe. This is just to show Canadians what type of a journey you've had.
All right. Safwan Chowdhury in Toronto, thank you so much.
Thank you.